Hi everybody, Jo here. How are you doing? I hope you had a lovely weekend and I hope your new week's going really well. Today I've got a fun little design to share with you. Great for a card or to go in your journal, or if you're a scrapbooker, would make a lovely design for a scrapbook page. And what I love about this is you can choose what colours you want. It doesn't want to be picked up. I just looked for some colours that I've probably not used together before, but it's lovely to experiment. And I love the fact that we've got just the black and white, the monochrome on the flower, but then the beautiful colour behind. Now, I've done some decoupaging. If you don't like fussy cutting, you could always make a mask or use masking fluid and mask off the flowers. Now, I fancied some depth, so I have used foam pads just to give a bit of depth, but it might be if you're posting this design, you want it flat. So you bippity boppity glue, just pop them flat, it will look just as good. There are so many stamps that we can use this, and it's such a lovely design. You could use it for so many different occasions. And also what's good is at this time of year, I know Sue, you've been in touch, Mr. Mojo's still on holiday, isn't he? Well, we want to get him back. So I think this is the design that he's going to go, I need to come back and play with that. So I hope you can join me. It all starts off with a piece of our multifarious card, and we're going for the A6 size. Now, this is perfectly A6. If you're going to mat and layer this on an A6 card and envelope, I would just trim it slightly on two of the sides and then it'll be perfect, because this is A6 size. And I'm going to start, you know what I'm like, with some stamping. And I've just got my copy of paper. And the only VersaFine Clair, the only permanent ink I'm using today is the Nocturne. So if you're one of our lovely new friends and followers, you only need one colour for this. And the stamp I've gone for is the Lilium. Now, we have the set, but this one stamp has the three lovely flowers. So I'm just going to use the black ink. The flowers actually remind me of a magnolia. I've got a beautiful standard magnolia in my garden, and I love it. It's one of the purpley colours. I know a lot of them are white, but it's just beautiful. And these flowers do remind me of that. So I'm just going to stamp it sort of centralish at a bit of an angle. And again, give it a good, let that ink soak in, and you get that beautiful. Now, I would stamp it again on spare card, but I've already stamped it and cut it out to save a little bit of time, because you won't want to watch me do that. But again, if you're decoupaging, just stamp this area on a little spare bit of card. I know you'll have plenty. We all do, don't we? Woodland Ferns. Now, it might be you want to put the field grass or the orchard grass here. In fact, there are so many stamps that would work well. I've just gone for the Woodland Ferns. I fancied something sort of more foliage than grass-like. But again, you can decide. Now, it might be you want to use a green ink for this. I'm just going for first, second and third generation, just to sort of mix it up a bit. And I just want to create a nice shape. Now, this is a set. It has two stamps. So I've gone for the larger one. Then I'm going to come in with the smaller one and just create what I think is a nice sort of shape here. I don't want to go too, but I like that sort of shape. And you know what? I think just a little bit second and third, just take it up there so it looks like the ivy. If you've not got the Woodland Ferns, check out if you've got an ivy stamp, because they would work well. Now, you know what I'm like. I always recommend blotting your work. VersaFine Clair, slower drying ink. So when it comes to the next bit, we don't want to smudge it. So we'll give that a blot, then pop that on the floor. Now, the colours, you can just have great fun. I looked through my colours and I thought I want some deep colour. So I've gone for Flying Fig and I've gone for Mermaid for a bit of a blue. but I fancied paprika for a change. I don't use the colour very often, so this is always a good time to get out maybe colours you don't use very often. And pixie green, I really wanted that green at the base. So we'll start with the pixie green, and I have got one brush, size 9, for each of the colours. I do have 2 brushes for my green, but one's for my lighter green and one's for, because pixie green is a dark green, so he needs his own brush. Now, as always, I would always recommend blending the lid. Your non-slip craft mat is perfect for this because the lid won't move. And we're just going to add some green. And this is where if I haven't blotted it, it might smudge. So just around where the fern is, I really want that lovely green. And I'll stop there because I can always come in and add a bit more. So next we've got the paprika. Again, blend in the lid. And this I'm going to use for the colour where the flowers are. Now, I tend to turn my work. You'll find, however it works well for you. It might be you keep yours this way. For some reason, I turn mine. Don't know why. It's a habit I've got into. Now, it might be when you've done this, you actually like the deep colour and you don't want to decoupage. I mean, that's what I like about this. It's got a lot of possibilities. So, mermaid next. And the mermaid, I'm just going to come in and add into next to these colours. So into where the green is. Now, my mermaid's well used. In fact, I need to get my re-inker on it. So I'm not blotting mine in my lid. But I tend to start at the corners and then bring the colour in. I just find for me it blends better that way. Now, as I say, it might be you want to use, I purposely, I nearly said might be you want to use an orange and a yellow. I purposely didn't because I've used those recently. And I'm thinking, let's go for some colours I don't use. And I'm just going to bring that blue into that red. But then what I will do is come back in and blend the edges between the red and the blue. And I'm almost going to get those sort of purpley tones. So I'm just blending. And then bring in the big guns, Flying Fig. Now again, if you've just bought this ink pad, it's strong colour. So it is a lovely deep colour. So again, I'm starting on the corners, look. And then when I get the colour I like on the corners, I can then move round. And I just want to bring a nice bit of blending. And again, for me, it's always important to turn that work. So 3 or 4 look on that corner, then I'm happy. So up the side, bit of blending. And the lovely thing about this, you're just creating a background. It's not, last week we did a scene and that we really wanted the edge pretty sort of pristine to give that scenery. Here, we're just blending, so don't worry. So there's a bit here I'm not that keen on. So I'm going to get my blue and come in. I just want a bit more blue here. And this is the beauty of this. We are going to flick some water splatters on it. And you know what? Water splatters hide a multitude of sins. So if there's bits you're not keen on, blend a bit more colour. But we're going to flick water. Right, happy with that. So, very important, lids on. Because otherwise, if you don't, you can guarantee, well, I will. I'll put my elbow in it or... Now, I'm just going to clean this up. Because, as I say, you can guarantee I'll be getting my elbow in it and then... So, what we're going to do is add some lovely water splatters now. I'm just going to come in. My fan brush has been in my water pot. And again, as long as the water doesn't go above the top of this metal, you can leave it in. Mine just stays in all day. Yeah, happy with that. And while that is just drying and faux bleaching, just going to come in with the mangaka pen and just add some little highlights. Now again, it's up to you. I just want to add a couple, just for a little bit extra. I don't want to add too much. I'm not going over the top. I think I'll stop there. What I do want to do at the bottom is come in with some lovely Stickles. This is Stardust, and I'm just going to dot and dab here. So I'm going to put a good little bit there, and then just with my finger, just dot it around. I don't want too much, just a little bit. So it's not in your face, but when you move the card, you'll know it's there. And I love these things. They're quite subtle. And then just going to give oh yeah, that's dry enough. So I'm going to give that a pat. That's dry enough for me. Making sure I don't pat the Stickles, but I'm happy with that. If you want, you can get your heat it up tool, she says, and just give it a quick dry, but that'll be fine. Now with a little tip, so I've cut out the lovely flowers look, and I've put some little square sticky pads on because I want the top bit raised. So again, we've got choices. Getting my bippity boppity glue. Now a little tip here, I want the bippity boppity, you know I can't say that, glue on the bottom, look. But also I want a bit of wiggle time. These pads quite often stick, and they are very sticky. So if you pop a bit of the glue on them, it gives you that wiggle time. So what it means is I can pop this on, look, and then I can move it about a bit, and those pads won't absolutely stick, so I can't move them. As the bippity boppity glue dries, they will dry in position. Now, what I normally do at home is I tend to pop my little blocks, look, and let that dry so it holds it down. So this one, I've taken those backs off because, you know, if we did it live, it would take me forever. We've done that before, haven't we? Do you remember? I'm there. It's funny, I did them before we started and they all came off perfectly. It's always the way, isn't it? Now, a bit of glue's just seeped out there. So I'm just going to... Now, it's a dry as clear glue, so there's no major worry, but I just want to dry as much up as I can and then give that a bit of a wiggle. Yep, happy with that one. Last one here. So again, bit of glue at the bottom and just on the foam pads to give me that wiggly time. Now, while I'm just looking at this, you know, I quite fancy a little butterfly. Now, on my original, I didn't have one. So let's just have a look. Are we going to be lucky? You know, I've got my tin. Oh, we've got a coloured one here. No, that won't go. Right, there we go. Just shows. It's quite funny when I'm demonstrating at shows and things. I have quite a group of lovely ladies who tend to cut things out for me. So that could have been cut out by one of you lovely ladies. And I'm thinking that there. So we do cut the antennae off. So your black fine liner, pop that on. And I'm thinking, bit of the bippity boppity. And, you know, this often happens for me. As I'm making a design, I alter it up a bit. Quite often I think, oh, I'm just going to change that. Now, the last little thing just before I add my sentiment sticker, I'm going to add a little bit of this fabulous, it's glitter, drop of shimmer from Kuretake. And it's, if I show you on the finished design, it's one of those you won't necessarily notice it's there. But as I often think with these designs, if you make a card, as the person is walking around the room, you get different bits. It's like the subtle glitter, this shimmer. So all I'm going to do with this is open the lid. And again, I tend to do that on my kitchen roll. Get myself a brush. And I don't want too much. I'm just taking a little bit off. And I'm just going to come in, tap my brush. But I'm just doing it with some kitchen roll underneath. just then I don't get it on my mat. I may still get some on my mat, but I'm trying to just get less if I can. So I want it over the butterfly and over the flowers and in this lovely background. And it just makes a change from the Posca. Right, that's enough. And the other thing I found is I put the brush in my water, and now all the other cards I do today with that water, I'll have that lovely bit of shimmer. So I'm not going to change that water. I'm going to keep that water and use it for the rest of the day. Right, sentiment sticker. So I've got a white. White I think will show up lovely. On my original, I've got tomorrow's another day. So I think put your feet up. Now again, remember, you can use these whole or you can cut them up. So let me just see. Oh, I quite like it at the bottom actually, right across there. I think it shows up well. Oh, wouldn't you love to get a card with put your feet up so that it's telling you, do you know what? You've definitely got to just go and put your feet up. I hope you can. Make yourself a nice brew. Maybe get yourself a nice bit of shortbread or a little bit of cake. And then put your feet up. And you know what you've got to? Because we've said you have to. Now look at that. When that dries. So I'm going to put that there. And there's the original one without the butterfly. I couldn't resist adding that butterfly. I hope you don't mind. So I can't wait to see what colours you're going to use. What combination are you going for? And this flower is perfect. You know what? I may just sit and cut some more out. And if Mr. Mojo's gone, just sitting, relaxing with your brew, cutting some flowers and some butterflies out might just entice him back. So good luck with that. Have a lovely, lovely evening. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.